Hello guys and welcome back to a new tutorial. This time, we are going to learn how to make a realistic looking render, following the main steps in modeling and lightning, with all the tips that you might need here on in any project. So enjoy. What I need you to do first is to go online, look for interior design ideas. Have some reference photos of what you have in mind before we start. You might see an idea that you like and add it to our upcoming scene. So, to start with the modeling, first, select the default cube and level it with the ground inside the edit mode. This way we keep the pivot point right where we want it, and the scale will go from the 0 level. After that, press N to adjust the dimensions. Now, from the front, position the camera there, then, move it inside and change the altitude and the focal length in the camera settings until you have a clear shot to the room. Once you're done with that, figure out the place for the windows. I will have one window and one door to the left, so, in the edit mode, add 2 cuts on both the front and left walls. Then select the faces and with the right mouse button, choose Extrude along normal, direct the extrusion to outside and delete the faces once you've finished. This will give the windows depth in the wall. The ceiling here will have a duplicate. Use Shift-D to copy it to bottom by 20 centimeters or so, and move the edges above the window and the door to inside a bit. This area created will cast a light on these walls once we put a hidden lights in it. To fill the openings in the walls we will use Archpack add-on to add windows to the scene. Turn it on if you don't have it active yet. So, from the Add menu, look for Archpack Objects and select Window. And it's easy to edit it, scale it around to fit the area needed. Use the white arrows on left and right of the window object, and press N to modify it using the Archpack parameters. Once you're done here, go to the other side and add another window, a flat type one this time, and edit it like the last one. You can use the snap tool which look like a magnet on the top of the screen to level the objects with the ground level or to a specific point easily. Though this scene is an interior, it is preferred to use an HDRI sky map. So, in the shading editor, go inside the world shading. First, add an environment texture to the background input, open it and select the HDRI map. We also need a mapping node to scale and rotate the sky, so here I just pressed Ctrl-T to add it, but if you don't have the shortcut, jump to the add-on settings and look for Node Wrangler, switch to render view to see the sky. So, experiment with the numbers here. We just need a nice background to this room in the outside. The next thing you need to adjust is the brightness or the exposure of the sky, and we need it to be much brighter than inside. So, to do that, add a gamma node between the sky and the background as shown. As you go down with the gamma value the sky will be even brighter. 0.4 is fine for now, we might adjust it later. The strength of the sky need a bit increase, so make it 2. Now, I am going to use Cycles Engine because it's more realistic with still shots and more accurate with ray and bounces calculating. You notice that clearly with the object shadows, but we use Eevee to edit the sky first, so. Once you switch to Cycles, make the device on GPU if you have a good graphic card, and in the dimensions, check render region so that the render process happened only inside the camera frame. Before I add the sunlight, let us make the glass material in the windows a simple node setup. First, switch back to object shading. With the default material setup you will have the BSDF node, delete it, then, add a glass node, mix it with transparent one. And in the factor input, we will have a light path node. We need from the last one both the shadows and diffuse ray outputs. Use a math node to add those two rays to the factor. We do this so we have a glass looking object without all the noise that come with it. You could use just the transparent node and it's fine, but you won't have that reflection on the glass to the objects near it, and it's for sure nice to have that. I did also the frame material to the windows, with just a grey color and some changing in the metallic and roughness values. Switch now to render view to see what we have. So, to add a sun in the scene, first delete this default lamp. We are going to add a new one as a sun lamp. Place the sun so you have the best shadows. A 90 degree between the sun rays and the camera is preferred or something near it. Just don't make the cam and the sun casting rays from the same area, the shadow won't look that good and the area in front of the camera would be color burned. In the sun settings, make the color warm toward orange, and up the strength a bit, while experimenting. Here, I need the shadows to be longer. Rotating the sun would do that for me. Again, it's an experiment process until you are satisfied with it. Once you're done with the sun, add an area light here between the two ceiling that we made. This will be a hidden light and will cast its light over the front and left walls. So scale the first light as you see to fit the area, make sure it's toward bottom, and give it a white or warm color. Again in the power value, increase it a bit. While experimenting, once you finished with this one, copy it using the shortcut Shift D to the left wall. Scale it to fit the second area if needed. Here, I am just going to extrude this edge. I did that to make sure the shadows are entering right even if there is a balcony above it. Now, to add a wood material to the floor, first, in the edit mode, select the faces there, then, in the material settings, add another material and assign the highlighted faces to it. Now this is a polygon material, so if you have the polygon material add-on from Andrew's channel, use that to set up the floor easily. I did have it in the previous version of Blender, but for now, let us make it as normal people. So, first add an image texture, open it and select the color bitmap. In the UV editor, press A to select all, then scale it until it looks fit. I did notice that it looked weird near the wall, so I UV unwrapped it using project from view type, and again scale it to fit. After that, add another image texture. This time select the reflection bitmap. This will go into the roughness input. Adding a math node between those two will give a control over the reflections, so switch to render view and experiment with that value. Now I notice that the floor is a bit much in colors, and for that, I did add a hue saturation node and decrease the value to 0.7. Finally, I added another image texture, and this time it is for the normals. We also need a normal map node to connect our bitmap to the normal input. Keep the strength on 1 for now, maybe after a render test, and if it's too much, lower it to 0.2 if needed. Now, to add furniture to our scene, I am going to use this file that I have. You can use other models. In my channel you can have multiple choices, so check that out. The arrow will lead you there. So, to import this models to our scene, I am going to use simple copy-paste process. Select the models you want to copy and press Ctrl+C. Go to our scene file and paste the models in separate collection to keep the work organized. Once the model's in the scene, it is just moving and placing it where it looks fit. Switch to render view to see how the sofa look in the room. We are going to fix the lighting in the room before importing the rest of the furniture. To increase the light inside, let us add 2 light sources outside the window and the door. It will work as the sky blue color, and it won't cast any extra shadows. So, after adding the area light, scale it to fit the area needed, and in the light settings, give it a light blue color and up the power a bit. We also need some spotlights in the room ceiling, so first, model a spot from a cylinder, scale it until it looks fit from the camera view. Then, in the edit mode, simple inset and extrude process will give you some good shapes. You can go online and look on some ceiling spots pictures. I changed the clip value in the camera so it won't cut the scene when zooming. Once you done that, jump to the material settings and assign different materials to the spot. The main one will be reflective toward gray in color. I kept those inner faces white. Finally, the circle in the middle will take an emission material. Give the light a warm color and up the power to 8. Now, from Add, place a spotlight near the spot model that we made. Make it closer to the wall at the model, and give it the same color that you assign in the emission light. We will also increase the power first, then, go into render view so we experiment with it if needed. I did here turn off most of the lights in the scene from the eye icon, just to see the spotlight clearly because it's a day scene, and from first look to me, it seems nice, so I turned them on again. Now that we're satisfied with it, go to top view, and copy it along the ceiling. Now back to the furniture. We did hide the frames earlier, so just place it above the sofa, and again, I am just moving with the G and scaling object using S as a shortcut. Go back again to the model file and copy the next set of models. Those curtains will go over the window and the door area. Those 3 vases will be placed behind the sofa. We did make a place to it when we model the window, so just finish with the models inside. Take your time, maybe look at some reference photos for interior design ideas. Now that we finished with the models, switch to render view. Make sure all the lights are on, and visible because we did hide them before. The curtains over the door are a bit low, so, move them up, and we need something other than white paint in the front wall, a wood material object, a marble one, or glass maybe, just to make some contrast and dynamic in the scene. So first, let me just edit those plants a bit, place them right so they aren't in the doorway, and make sure to place them on the ground. The curtains will go up like this for now. And on this wall, let us add a cube, scale it to fit a thin wood bar. Once you're done with the shape, place it near the left corner, and make some copies of it until the curtain cover the rest of the wall. Now, select all the copies and join them, press Ctrl A and apply transformation to avoid any mistakes in the UV mapping later. After that, add a new material to the object. In the shading editor, as before, to enter a texture we need an image texture here. Select this wood map, and connect it to the base color input in the BSDF node. Now the wood map has a pattern and we want to see it on the object. Best option for us is to use project from view in the UV unwrap options, so in the UV editor, scale it until it looks fit. Now before rendering this scene, it might be good to add a balcony railing. It won't appear that much, but still, from a simple plane, and with the edit mode edge selection, scale it around as shown, and extrude this outside edges to make the rails. It will have two parts, a metal frame and blue glass. I did separate the rails from the floor by selecting the faces that I need and pressing P, then separate selection. This cuts won't show unless you take a shot from the wood side on the wall. Again, this is just plus work, so roll with it as you like. Once we have these faces selected, add two materials and assign the second one to them. Those will have the same glass material that we used in the windows. Hitting the number near the material name will make separate it from the origin. Now you can change the color without affecting the window's glass. The frame will be reflective and you can achieve that inside the BSDF with either the metallic or the roughness values. For the render settings, make sure you are on cycles, and use the GPU if the graphic card is good. Otherwise use CPU device and it's fine and sometimes faster, though it puts some loads on your PC. Up the render samples to about 1000. And turn off caustics so you don't end up with extra render, unless it's close shot to transparent object. In that case, you need it on, otherwise, keep it off. The tile size. The easy way is to use the tile add-on, and keep it on auto. For GPU keep it near 256 or 512 for both X and Y values, and for CPU users keep it on 16. Again, the add-on will give you the best tile size for you, so use it. In the color management tab, experiment with it. The look options will add some realistic contrast to the scene. However, don't exaggerate with it. Medium-high contrast looks fine most of the time, and also the exposure and gamma would help you if you don't want to use Photoshop, so I keep that to you. Finally, in the Scene tab, turn on denoising. I did edit the color in the glass outside before hitting the sweet render button. And that's it guys, see you again in other tutorials, goodbye.